things like that. Man, I believe this might be 20, Saad. We didn't even talk about it. I think this is 20.
Or is this 21?
I think it's 20.
I think last week was 20.
I think, but we didn't do it last week.
No, I mean the last one we did.
All right, so we're at 2021. At this point, we're going to lose track probably more often than not. I'm 47. He's
52.
So, I mean, his mind's a little better than mine. I polluted mine over the years with just an incredible amount of bullshit. But all fun. I'm not regretting too much of it. I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Right.
We were kind of just talking about this a second ago. I was like, what do you want to talk about? And Saad's like, well, I got some dude making some comment about the weight loss, and then we talked about it for like 30 seconds, and I hit the record button. So what was the comment, Saad?
So, a friend of mine who I think should know better was like, weight loss, there's a lot of socio-economic factors in weight loss. And, like when he said it, I'm like, dude, just stop. And it made me think back to like one of my professors in college. A guy named Virgil Jardine. He had immigrated from Jamaica, and while he was in the States, he got his doctorate degree in economics, and I was fortunate enough to study under him for probably like 5 classes. And he had a saying that has stuck with me all these years, and I need to look up, see where Virgil is now, but he would say in every class that excuses and complaints are the tools of losers, and they build monuments of nothingness. And you're like, when you think about it, you're like, excuses and complaints. Our society is full of excuses and complaints on why we don't do the things we need to do to achieve the things we'd like to achieve.
Yeah.
And whatever the excuse is, whether it's, I'm not economically where I want to be because, or I'm not physically in the shape I'd like to be because, and like whatever comes after because is usually just a litany of excuses, whether the excuse is economic, whether it's there's racial differences, whether it's genetic, whether maybe your mother just stopped breastfeeding you too soon, and you just so life is horrible, and it's like there's always because, and the reality is it's like you are the captain of your own ship. You're gonna decide what things you want in life that are really important to you, and you're either gonna do them or you're not gonna do them. And there will always be an excuse not to do them. And those people that always have the excuse, I can't think of any of their names because they don't make history.
Right.
They just, like your face don't get on Mount Rushmore because you're full of excuses.
It's weird because you're right, but it's like I lose 120 pounds 15 years ago, and then a couple hundred pounds last couple of years. But I also went through a whole lot of life, huge.
Sure.
And you don't even you get used to it, right? So you get out, you're at 19, you get at high school 18, you're in the Navy.
17.
17. You're put into a standard of fitness and a standard of wins.
Right.
Even if you don't want to do it,
sure.
you're made to do it, and you start stacking up these little gains.
Mm.
So maybe by the time you're 22, 23, you're looking jacked, you're ready to go. You're confident for the first time maybe in your life, but you got it early, right? At 22, I don't know nothing. I'm bouncing, I'm fighting fishermen and stuff. I'm learning things the hard way. But I'm not being told by nobody, there's no guidance. You know what I mean? I got my mom always telling me to do the right thing, and my grandpa, but there's no one leaning on me about the drinking. No one's getting on me because I'm capable, but you're still doing stupid shit all the time. So there's always an excuse, like you said. I think you can always find an excuse, and the only way to get around something like that is, I don't know what happens with the mindset. I know sometimes life happens in fear, in reality, and sometimes that's enough. I know a guy recently who got diagnosed diabetic. His name's Bobby. And in January, he bought a fat bike and started following my plan to a degree. His version.
Right.
His version.
Sure.
Still drinks alcohol on the weekends at the football games, still but he doesn't eat no more carbs.
Right.
He don't eat it.
Yeah.
But he'll have some alcohol in the week. His version. And he's down like 90 pounds, and he's almost off his diabetes medicine since January.
Yeah.
So he sees a fat guy ride a bike for, 4 months. He watched me on one of the fat bike pages. I don't even know how he found me.
Right.
He found me somehow.
Sure.
Watched me for a while. Starts doing it, and then he gets a hold of me like 2 months ago, and he tells me his story. And he's down like 80 pounds.
Right.
And now we're talking all the time. So you start kind of like you're inspiring your son. Your son's like a ridiculously capable 20-year-old.
Right.
Because he's seen a ridiculously capable father. So he has something to mirror and to make proud.
But at some point, your parents are no longer the issue.
Sure.
I never, I don't speak about my father, but we never had a relationship, so I didn't have him as a guiding role model. I went into the Navy because there was no other choice for me at 17. I dropped out of high school. I went into the Navy 2 months after I turned 17. There was no other choice. There was no option to stay home. There was no option to stay in high school. It was like, no, you are going to sink or swim, and because you don't have a family that's going to support you. So I had to make that choice. Now, there was people in boot camp with me, because boot camp can be very stressful, and it's intentionally that way. They quit in boot camp. They're like, I'm not doing this, and they get a bus ticket home. The Navy throws them out. They never finish boot camp.
Sure.
And then there was people, on my first ship, they was in the same environment as me, but they made a choice to quit. And either they got out of the Navy at the end of their enlistment, or they got into trouble, which caused them to be thrown out the Navy. And every step along the way in your life, you're just making choices. You're making decisions, and it's not because, at some point you have to own your decisions. Like I had a conversation with my younger brother, he's been up to like 350. He's like 48 now, and his excuse used to be, well, I got sleep apnea, and that's what. And if I had a machine, I'd lose weight. Well, he's got a machine, and he still ain't losing the weight. Now his excuse is, well, I prepare meals for mom, and mom will only eat, fried chicken, country fried steak, and unhealthy foods, and I don't want to make 2 meals, one for her and one for me. So, I'm eating unhealthy food, so I'm fat. And it's like, dude, you're 48 years old. You're not fat because mom.
Right.
Like, at some point, you gotta own that. Like, it's not because mom, because like my mother is actually very slender. So, it's like, but he's always got a ready-made excuse for why his life is the way it is.
I think people sometimes hear what I say to them, and then automatically, either A, they think I'm insane. You lost 200 pounds that way, you're crazy.
Sure.
Not crazy when I'm fat.
Right.
Crazy because I lost weight my way.
Right.
So I'm insane.
Yeah.
That's what sometimes they even say. That's insane.
Right.
And I go, okay, but it works for me, and I told you I'm getting checked by my doctor, so it's fine. I'm fine with it.
Right.
So you should be cool. Like you should really look at it as maybe it's something different than you know.
Right.
Or they get mad when I tell them how simple it is.
Yeah.
And I say, here it is. Just cut your food down to 1 meal a day. Make it massive.
Right.
Biggest meal you can eat.
Sure.
Once a day.
Right.
No sugar, no carbs.
Right.
It's the simplest way of eating ever.
And
if you go 1 week doing it my way and you don't like it, stop it.
Right.
And it's over. But if you lose 10 pounds in a week and you have more energy than you've ever felt in your life, and you have more stamina than you've ever thought about in your life, which is where I'm living. My physical state is living in a very high-keyed existence right now. I did 23 miles Sunday on a fat bike.
Yeah.
I did 11 miles the night before. I wanted to get 30 in by the weekend, so that was what I used to ride all week, but I'm working now all week. So I wanted to get it all, and I did. And it wasn't that crazy.
Yeah.
And I was able to do a day back to back. So now I'm pulling 6 hours of riding in 2 days instead of doing 5 short ones. But I'm getting it in.
Yeah.
And so you tell someone you can do that. You show them the pictures,
Right.
and it's and we'll say they're like close to 75 years old and dying from it. Like they're dead
Yeah.
in 3 years if they don't figure it out.
Right.
They don't stop eating right now, they're dead. They're gonna stop walking soon, and then it's over.
Sure.
As soon as and they're right there. They're my mom's friends, and I love her.
Yeah.
And I've known her my whole life.
Right.
And she says she can't do it, and I say okay.
Because it really comes down to willpower, and it comes down to, like, the thing is like, for you and I, like, we have two totally different diets. You know, you are on a carnivore diet. I do what is called a pescatarian diet, and I've been doing it for about 4 years now, where I eat a vegetarian diet with the exception of I eat seafood, and hence the pescatarian. So, you know, I eat fish, shrimp, crabs, oysters, but other than that, it's a vegetarian diet. But what we have in similar is we both do this intermittent fasting. Like, my pescatarian diet, I got the idea because so many, when you look at, like, who lives to be 100, they're always off some freaking island.
Yeah,
like
Japan, Okinawa,
Sigonella.
Yeah.
You know, Okinawa.
Off
You know,
Italy,
like,
yeah.
and so, not that they're exclusively pescatarian, but if you live on an island, you're gonna probably have more seafood in your diet than you are gonna have beef, chicken,
And they walk a lot more on an island.
Yeah. So
I watched
that
that
was
same special.
where I got the idea, and then both the Nick and Nate Diaz and Chrome Gracie, they all do the pescatarian diet, and they not only compete in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but they also compete in MMA, and they also do triathlons.
Right.
And so they're able to do that at the highest level doing this diet. So I was like, okay, there's something to this. Let me try it. And I didn't think I would. When I started it 4 years ago, I didn't think I'd still be doing it, but here I am, and it works for me. But also the intermittent fasting, and where that really came into play, because I kept hearing, you know, like friends of mine on Facebook, they'd post something about intermittent fasting, and you know, when I first heard it, I was like, oh, that sounds like garbage. I'm not buying that. But when I looked into it and I saw their results and your results, because you're also doing intermittent fasting,
Yeah.
And you look at like the history of our ancestors.
Yeah, if you do the math.
Who we came from.
Sure.
You know, like, if you came from, you know, like, the Vikings, you know, like, as they were taking their longboats along the coast, they weren't getting up eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, you know, like, they might be eating one meal a day. Or if you came from a Native American tribe, you know, as they was hunting the buffalo, they weren't getting up, having a big breakfast, big lunch, big dinner. It was like, no, you might go for days.
Yeah.
Or, you know, at least
You were
you're
for sure.
lucky
You were
eat
for sure
that day.
chasing
Right.
animals down.
Right. So
Yeah.
when we had these nomadic lifestyles,
Well, that's all up to like 300,000 years ago.
Right.
Man's around 300,000 years. 3,000 years ago, we start cultivating property and we start planting.
right,
Before that, everything was chasing something down or pulling it off a tree, fruit, or you chased it down.
so eating once a day
Was normal.
is very normal.
What I think
You know?
was really a blessed life
Right.
back then.
And
so
then-
you have one big meal, you
Sure.
share it with the people around you, your tribe, your clan. The men are the men, the women do this part.
Yeah.
That's how it used to be.
And if you look at like all the major religions, you know, there's a few things they all agree with. You know, whether you talk about Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, but what they do all agree with is fasting. You know, of course, for a more spiritual reason, but they all do it, and it's like, and they've been doing this, you know, for in some cases thousands of years. You know, like there's a logic behind some of these religious traditions, and it just makes sense. And the more I listen to doctors and scientists explain why intermittent fasting works, you know, then it made sense. Because at first it was like, hold on, if 1,000 calories is 1,000 calories, whether I eat it all in one sitting or whether I eat it every 2 hours throughout the day.
Yeah.
But the truth is, it's not. You know, and then, you know, of course there's a difference in the quality of food that you eat. But the concept of intermittent fasting is you eat whatever. You know, you can be on any kind of diet.
Sure.
And you're not paying anybody. Ain't nobody making a profit off you doing intermittent fasting. Like, you
Yep.
don't got to pay anybody's program. It's just, you get into the plan, you make the sacrifices.
I let myself have the weekends off.
Right.
So if I come home like on a Friday night and I want to have a keto-friendly ice cream bar and a little bit of peanut butter at like midnight, I'll do that on Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
So I have 3 days that I give my mind off. But really, I only take 2 of them. And sometimes I don't even take one because I'm so used to the procedure. And if I get enough food in that one meal, or say 2-hour window, sometimes it's one meal, a chew, and then another meal. Right in the middle, I have like a dip.
But one thing that I noticed is like
that's
what
for
I've
me.
been doing
I do a 2-hour.
Is I've been having like these 6-hour windows. So I'll go to bed at like 10 p.m. Well, and then like I will not eat until like 3 or 4 p.m. the next day. So I make sure I don't eat anything before 10 p.m. And then that's my cutoff for food. I take that back. I don't necessarily go to bed at 10 p.m. I might go to bed at midnight or 1 a.m. But I'm not eating again until 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And I'm physically training, sparring, doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm working out on it. And I'm not fueling before these workouts. There's no Gatorade, there's no big breakfast. I'm working out. And then after my workout, I'm eating. But sometimes it's just one meal a day. Sometimes it's a couple meals in the 6-hour window. But what I found, the effects, not only was an amazing weight loss, because I dropped like
this is amazing.
I stepped on the scale this morning. I think I was at 183. On May 28th, I weighed myself, and this is after I was able to reopen my school, and I was at 212. And I was still in, like a healthy shape to compete. And then at like in August, when I signed up for the Pan American Championships, and that was like August 16th, I was at like 208 or 209. And I just started losing weight by doing just a couple things. The pescatarian diet I've been doing for the past 4 years, so that wasn't a change. What I did is, like, before each tournament, I like to sacrifice something. And so I sacrificed sweets and desserts, which was super hard for me. Because to me, I was like, it's just, this candy bar is just 250, 300 calories, I'll work it off. This slice of pie, however many calories, I'll work it off. This ice cream. But what I realized was that every day I was eating my Reese's peanut butter cup. Every day. And every day I was eating a bowl of ice cream.
Yep.
And
it's an addiction.
A lot of days I'd eat a piece of pie or a piece of cake or something that somebody would offer me, or like a chocolate chip cookie. Gee, especially chocolate chip cookies. That would be insane. And I was doing this every day, but I was just working it off. But the thing is like you can't outwork a bad diet.
No.
And once I stopped doing the sugar, I just limited the sugar intake. Like, even before I started the intermittent fasting, just limiting the sugar intake started causing me to, like, massively lose weight. And we're talking about, so mid-August,
did you have headaches?
209. The first 2 weeks was hell.
Yeah.
Like, it was really hard for 2 weeks. And, I would see cookies.
There's a bad withdrawal.
Sure, because you don't realize how addicted you are to sugar until you stop.
I was helping somebody get over it because I bring people along sometimes on this diet. There's maybe 6 people that are doing it on their own that have lost over 80, and then a few people that I'm kind of coaching through it.
Yeah.
And we get people through the headaches with drinking shots of pickle juice every day. So you drink pickle juice to get a lot of salt in you. Because you're detoxing, and you have a lot of weirdness coming out of you when you're coming off sugar. And for me, I had headaches every day for 7 days, and they would last like 15 seconds on the hour.
Yeah.
And it would feel like a spike. Same spot, right there. We'll say it's right there. For like 15 seconds, and I'd just grin and bear it, and it would go away. And then every hour, 15 seconds, and I would know an hour was up by the headache.
Sure.
That's how regular it was. If I was awake, that headache was for like, not 7 days, like 4 days. And then one day I'm in class and there was no headache.
Right.
and I knew that hour that it went away.
Nice.
And I was like, wow, 4 days of,
Sure.
I think that might be a migraine. I'm not even sure.
Right.
I don't even know. I've never even had headaches this bad before.
Right.
Ever. So, yeah, it's
And
a
sugar
severe
is in
addiction.
so much stuff. You know, like I heard a
It's
doctor
in everything, dude.
say a couple months ago that sugar is more addictive than cocaine.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, oh, that can't be. But we've got sugar in so much stuff. So just by cutting out my desserts, and it was hard because, you know, my wife and my daughter, you know, they live with me, and you know they're still eating dessert.
Yeah, they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
You know, that first couple of weeks was super hard to see them eat it and know that, man, I really want it, and I'm not. But the crazy thing is after the 2 weeks, I lost my temptation for it, or my desire for it. Which, you know, like I'd have friends be like, oh, come on, Saad, one cookie won't hurt. And it's like, no, one cookie will hurt, and I'm not touching the cookie. And so, like, even though the Pan American Championships is over, I'm not training for that anymore. I'm not going back to chocolate, ice cream, and sugar.
How's your mind? Is your mind sharper?
It is, like, ironically, between the intermittent fasting, which I may have started, like, maybe a month ago. Like, I didn't start the sugar I started the sugar withdrawal in August. And then I started doing the intermittent fasting maybe late September. But I'm going from 209 to 183 in just a span of 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Which is dramatic.
And not even really
Because-
trying to lose weight.
Right.
You're making like a penance so
Because
you
I had
can.
to change my weight class for the Pan Ams.
Yeah, it's
because
so crazy.
last year I competed at heavyweight. I intended on competing this year at heavyweight, but I lost so much weight so unexpectedly from just doing these changes that I had to drop down to medium heavy. And you know, like where I'm at now at 183, like, because they just announced they're doing the Master World Championships in December in Florida, and I'll be signing up for it. But you know, I may have to drop down to middleweight because like middleweight is 182 and a half with your gi on, and I'm at 183.
Yeah, you can get that.
Where, you know, like medium heavy is 195 with your gi on. So like, do I really want to give up those 12 pounds to somebody? You know,
Yeah, just train a little bit.
and you know, like, so, but the thing is once you get off that sugar and you start doing the intermittent fasting, because the other thing I noticed about the intermittent fasting was that I was waking up more refreshed in the morning, you know?
Yeah.
And,
this is what's bizarre.
yeah.
When you get, for me, I can't explain it to people.
Right.
I think I think your hormones start leveling out because you get into a weird spot of homeostasis where you're never digesting anything.
Right.
So and Dr. Rhonda Patrick explained this, so I'm not coming up with anything that I know.
Right.
She's a genius. You need to watch her. She's one of Rogan's frequent guests, and she's extremely smart when it comes to physiology. And she was explaining that the hormone levels start getting to a place where they don't ever get to because you're always processing food.
Yeah.
So then your body starts leveling out and secreting things, I don't know what they are, that help you out with a stress relief, cortisone levels, and inflammation.
Right.
So you end up taking the sugar out. You're taking away everything that's inflamed. I know this. If I eat
videos I've watched.
If I eat sugar, or I call it, if I take a day and I'm having poison, and I eat a whole day, I'm gonna gain 10 pounds, maybe 12. If I eat carbs for one day. Now I eat a lot of bullshit when I do that. I'll go to a meal and I'll have 3 meals that day. I'll no times, no fasting. You know, one will be McDonald's, whatever. I'm eating nonsense. I'll get some donuts, whatever. Coke. I'll put on 12 pounds. It's all inflammation. It's all it takes me like 2 weeks to get rid of it. Now if I go and I eat one meal, it takes me 5 days to get rid of it. Now at 280. Now at 300 this was different. At 350 this was different. I was doing different things. At 400 I was doing different things.
The guy I was listening to was Dr. Jason Fung.
Okay.
They call him the diet doctor.
Okay.
So, but same thing you're saying, Dr. Patrick was saying, is Dr. Fung was saying.
Yeah, you get into these weird homeostasis levels that your body is used to working at under optimal conditions.
Right.
So I don't think anyone's ever been in optimal conditions.
Right.
I don't think anyone eating 3 meals a day is doing anything good for themselves
because
at
they're
all.
just burning carbs as their energy
Even
source,
we'll say
and
food
they don't
in
get
general.
to burning the fat, which
Well,
is the concept.
Even
of
if you're
intermittent
just
fasting.
well, the carbs in intermittent fasting, cutting out the sugar to burn the fat is carbs. The intermittent fasting is just cutting out diet. Now I cut out carbs in that. You're doing it a little different, where you have some carbs but no sugar.
Right.
So you're still running on carbs,
Right.
not eating fat necessarily. But I'm trying to live in keto land, which would be processing the fat. When I go piss on a strip, I never piss because I do have a little bit of peanut butter regularly during the week. Every day or every other day, I'll say I have some peanut butter, and there's carbs in that. But so few that I'm still losing a lot of fat.
Right.
Now,
Well,
it's
what
hard
Dr.
for me.
Fung was saying was that when you intermittent fast, for say you go 16, 18 hours. So instead of like when I'm sparring or you're riding your bike and you're intermittent fasting, if you don't give your body fuel like through like some quick snack, whether it's carbs or whatever you give your body, that's not fuel that your body's going to burn. So what it has to burn is it has to go into your fat stores, and that's when you start burning fat.
Okay.
So
Same concept.
I keep giving myself snacks, before these workouts, then that's the fuel my body will burn.
Interesting.
But if I go on an empty stomach and I do these workouts and go through the day, my body has no other choice but to go in my fat stores, which is, as he explained, is like what your body was originally designed to do. That's why we store fat. It's like so we can use it later. And
working.
Sort of like when people swim the English Channel, they gain a lot of weight before they make this swim because that gives them the fat reserves to give them the energy to make
Be
the
able to
swim.
do it. Right.
And so they intentionally gain
Like
weight.
runners do the carb load too.
Right.
Same thing.
So when you're burning, the fat on your body was designed as a reserve, to burn, when you have no food. And what we've done is by constantly eating throughout the day, we never give the body a chance to burn the fat because it always has this little this little snack that it gets to burn instead.
Makes total sense to me because if I'm disciplined enough to wait, like I'll get hungry like 2 times a day. I know at like 9 in the morning I'm gonna get hungry. Right. And I tell myself, so I'm doing like a mind programming when I'm talking about this, right?
Yeah.
When I see sugar, I call it poison.
Right.
And then I talk about it as a poison.
Yeah.
When I talk to people,
Right.
Even someone was talking about losing weight in the BJJ forum.
Yeah.
And I just put in there,
Sugar is poison.
Sugar's poison.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And it's true.
And so once you start saying do yourself a favor. Go to the grocery store, walk in the door, and then point at everything that's a carbohydrate or sugar. Right. You point at the aisle. Right. Just do this. You're going to be busy.
Sure.
You're going to be really, really busy. The whole freaking store is sugar. Yeah. You go to the fruit aisle, sugar. Right. Everything is sugar.
Bread aisle,
sugar. Everything. Yeah. The whole fucking store is sugar.
Right.
You got to go to the meat department and the eggs and the vegetables to not find sugar. And even in some of the vegetables, there's carbs. So it's really everywhere. So you got to accept yourself. If you're normal sized and you're processing normally, you're really lucky. Maybe you have some sort of freak body that isn't affected by time or the poison market that is being sold to us daily, and your children and everybody you know is eating poison, by the way. Everybody except me is eating fucking poison. Really. In my world.
Yeah.
Everybody. Beth has a normal alcohol drink every once in a while. I do too. Like once a month. You'll hear me talk about it. Hey, we're going to go get fried fish, buddy. Let's go do it. Yeah. It's a big night. I'm fucking smashing it. So I'm going to get key lime pie too. Nice. And then I feel shitty for 3 days because I knew I ate poison, but I planned it. Yeah. I told myself I planned it. I'm still a fat ass in my mind. But I'm not because of a little bit of discipline. You know what I mean? Like, I wore, this is an interesting outfit today. It wasn't really planned. I went to Walmart. I went to Walmart today and bought some. These are called, I guess, joggers, and they have like skinny legs.
Sure.
I call these the stupid pants the kids wear.
Yeah.
But I needed to buy them so I could ride the bike.
Yeah.
And not catch my leg up.
Sure.
But this is a size XL.
Right.
At Walmart.
That's awesome.
For $15.
Right. And we're talking about a guy that went from 600 pounds.
I've never bought clothes.
Now,
this is the first time I've ever bought clothes at a regular
I think
store.
it's the first time I ever saw you in pants. Like,
it's the first time
always in shorts.
It's the first time I've ever bought clothes at a regular store. At a regular store. Now, I bought a couple pair of pants online at Amazon and tried.
Yeah, sure.
But this is the first time Beth's bought me some pants.
Right.
Come home, try this out.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I think this is the first, and they're definitely the first pair of $15, Russell Athletics.
Yeah.
But this shirt is a 4X.
Right.
And this used to be my norm.
Yeah.
And it's just
Not anymore.
so big. And then this is what happens when you lose a lot. And it's just a badge of honor for me. Like, it doesn't bother me a bit.
Right.
It does too. Sometimes. But I understand that there's never going to be a normal looking me. So I really don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I really don't give a fuck.
Right. Yeah.
So it is what it is. But you can have success.
Right.
You can lose a shit ton of weight. You can not date idiot people.
Yeah.
You cannot marry assholes.
Sure.
You can get married to an asshole and then learn from it.
Right.
And be a new man. You can stop drinking.
Yeah.
You can stop doing heroin. Everything other than the heroin I've done before. I used to be a bad alcoholic, a guy that justified it because he had a good job, because he was a teacher, because he went to work every day.
Sure.
But I still drank insane amounts of alcohol every night. And I thought it was okay.
Right.
So the learning how to get past something, for me, and how to lose the weight was me sitting in the hospital dying from alcoholism.
Yeah.
And then a few years later, me losing a little bit of weight, and then my mom dying, and then seeing her life, and her dying at 77, being on a walker for 10 years. And this is a woman who was so alive.
Sure.
And you would have never known she was heavy, not one day in her life, from how she acted.
Yeah.
But she was absolutely an outdoor lover, a nature person. Right. She never stopped doing these things. But if she was 150 pounds, she would have done everything.
Sure.
You don't understand how much you're losing.
Right.
You do not understand. This is what bothers me the most. Right. You do not understand what you're not giving yourself not credit for. The life you're able to live, not being a fat ass. And it's hard for me to look at people who are extremely overweight and to see how, not simple it was for me, but how simple the moves are. Right. Not to make them, but how simple it was for me. Cut the food down drastically. Me, maybe I'm extreme, whatever. I've always have been. I always have been. So I'm never going to do nothing normal. Right. So for me, it's 22 hours off, 2 hours on, only eggs, meat, cheese. Yeah. I've done every iteration of this diet. If you want to message me, I can talk to you 1,000 different ways. That's what works for me now. Right. There's a lot of people doing it their way. But cut it out. It's an elimination diet.
And the thing is, it's like, I think, like, when I was eating, whether it's the pies, the chocolate chip cookies, the Reese's peanut butter cups, I swear, I'd eat a Reese's peanut butter cup every single day. Yeah. At least one. And not the regular size ones. I get the
king size.
Yeah. And I loved them. And when I ate those cups, or that ice cream, a banana split, whatever, it brought me a temporary joy. However long it took me to consume that item, it made me happy. And then when I stepped on the scale, I wasn't happy. Or when I looked in the mirror, I wasn't happy. Because I knew, I wasn't being everything I could be.
It's interesting you say that, because before you would talk about on the podcast, I'm not talking about 2 months ago, you'd be like, I train every day, I'm in shape, my doctor tells me no weight. So it's like everybody makes excuses to a degree.
Absolutely. So, and you think it's not a problem. Yeah. In that, okay, me having these desserts doesn't affect me that much because, in my mind, well, I'm just supposed to be around 200, 205 pounds. That should be my normal window because my father and two of my brothers were all over 300 pounds. So in my mind, I was like, man, I'm doing great because, I'm 100 pounds less than my father and my siblings, so
Yeah.
I'm doing great.
Yep.
And, you know, once I changed my diet and saw how much better I could do, and then, you know, like, coming to terms with, like, it was really shocking for me. Like, I didn't think the desserts were as big of a problem, even though my wife would joke on me. She's like, the way you eat snacks, you know, and desserts, you deserve to have diabetes, and it's an amazing thing that you don't. You know,
Right.
because my blood sugar was fine. So I'm like, hey, don't have it, not my problem. I'm gonna keep eating.
Yeah.
But once I cut it out, and like I was saying, you know, the first couple of weeks was really hard. Now, like, Samara, my daughter, 13, she texts me. She's like, Dad, can you get me some ice cream on the way home? I'm like, sure. And I went in there, I bought the ice cream, I brought it home for her, but there was no temptation for me to get it too.
Yeah.
You know, and man, I used to love like Ben and Jerry's ice cream, Breyer's ice cream. Like, oh man, I would get into that. But now there's not. But the thing is that without these desserts, even though like a cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory would make me very happy, you know,
Sure.
these things made me happy. But now that I don't have these things, I'm still freaking happy. Actually happier, because now I can step on the scale at any time, and it's like, my gosh, like, I haven't been at this low of a weight, you know, in years.
Sure.
We're talking about 20, 30 years. Like, I haven't, like, you know, and now, like, you know, like, Sway's like, well, how much more weight you gonna try to lose? I'm like, I'm not trying to lose any weight, actually. I'm just doing this,
Like, get
this
homeostatic,
lifestyle
like, figure out
change.
where it is.
And I'm gonna see where my body takes me, because I did not intend in August when I started this to get to 183. You know, to go from like 206 to 183. I did not intend that, but it happened.
Sure.
And like, to me, it just blows me away that I can, a guy that works out every day and has done this for the majority of his life, leads a fairly, you know, healthy lifestyle and diet. You know, because I've been on this pescatarian diet for 4 years. Like, this isn't, so the pescatarian diet isn't what caused me to lose this 20 pounds in 3 months. You know, that wasn't the cause. You know, the cause was
Sugar addiction.
you know, sugar. Once I stopped the sugar, and then I started playing with that intermittent fasting, and, you know, like, a friend of mine was like, well, maybe it was because you was working out harder getting ready for the Pan Ams. But it wasn't, because 3 weeks before the Pan Ams, I strained my back.
And you quit working out.
And so I wasn't working out nearly as hard. You know, so it wasn't the exercise. It was the reduction of the sugar and the, like, I only really did maybe intermittent fasting, maybe less than a month before the Pan Ams. So in this 2 month period, I was able to lose like over 20 pounds just from giving up the sugar. You know, I didn't work out harder than I normally did because I was injured. You know, the pescatarian diet I had been doing years before. And then when I started playing with the intermittent fasting, it just started melting even quicker. But just on the sugar, like, I was just shocked at how quickly I lost the weight.
Yeah, I would say for me, cutting out the carbs was a massive push in the beginning, and then your body gets acclimated,
Yeah.
and then you got to hit carbs up every once in a while to
Right.
reset, and that's what everyone told me to do, and that's what I would do to kind of like build in a window for success. If you build in a failure day, you're not going to fail on your own.
Right. Yeah.
Right? So I would build in like once a month or so, or once every 2 months in the beginning, and then to once a month. But I would say the intermittent fasting, what it does is at least 50%.
Yeah.
Because it makes you obligated to a certain window of perfection.
Yeah.
So you learn discipline very quickly. And if you make yourself do it, and you say, it doesn't matter, I know I'm going to make it. Or, right now I'm eating fat. That's what I tell myself anytime I get hungry.
Yeah.
I drink a bottle of water or something, or a Diet Coke. Because I do have Diet Cokes whenever I want one. I'll drink a Diet Coke and I'll say, I'm eating the fat right now.
Right.
So that seems to work for me. One time when I was really big, like close to or 600, I definitely weighed the most. It was 569 on the scale, and then I went like a year after that without weighing. So I don't know exactly where I got to, but we'll say 570 is my highest. I was also addicted to swimming a mile every day or 5 days a week at the YMCA, because I still like to work out,
Right.
and I could swim. I could swim fucking far. I always could. I always could swim forever. So I would go to the Y, and I wasn't fast, but I would swim for hours, sometimes hour. One time I did 3 miles. Well, you know, I could swim. And this dancer got behind me or in front of me once in the pool, and she stopped me when I was swimming, and she goes, "I don't care if you swim 24 hours a day. 90% of weight loss is diet. I'm a trainer.
Yeah.
90% of weight loss. If you're trying to lose weight, 90% of it's diet.
Because you can be overweight and still be athletically gifted, still be able to do athletic activity.
That pisses me off because I think I am an athlete in a lot of ways.
Look at like NFL defensive linemen. You'll get a guy that's 350 pounds, and our bodies aren't designed to be that big and that heavy. And you know the guy will run, you know, like a 4.6 40, and you're like, holy crap, this dude is amazing. He's got the speed of running backs, you know, like.
Sure.
And he's twice their size. And just amazing athletes. But, you know, like, I think one of the best defensive linemen, you know, from back in the 80s, William Refrigerator Perry, I think he's lost a limb now because of diabetes. And he was really shocking because he was like the first defensive lineman to come into the NFL. And I remember when he was drafted, he was like 325 pounds.
Yeah, and that was huge back then.
Yeah. Where like now it's like all the defensive linemen are over 300 pounds.
Yeah. My buddy Al, he played, I think for a year somewhere, I think Seattle, and he was a really good college player. I mean, real good. And he was 6'7", 260 in high school. So when he went to college, they turned him into a tailback, and he was like 6'7", 230, and I mean jacked. I mean, so big, so fast. So. He goes from 260 to 230 in college, goes and plays pro at that weight, 240 years. I mean, so big. Yeah. Then he becomes like a regular father, like a farmer, father guy, starts putting on the weight. Gets to 450-ish. Wow. So Al at 450 looks pretty good compared to most 450s. Right. He's insanely strong, always has been. Even when he wasn't a lifter in high school, he was stronger than me when I was a lifter, and he wasn't. He could throw me around, and I was way bigger than him weight-wise. He was way stronger than everybody, even though he wasn't on the weights. He was just insanely big, 6'7", big Russian dude, right? Okay, so he then becomes 450, and me and him talk about losing weight for 10 years, all the time. Yeah. And he's disgusted, and I'm like, listen, I give him the excuses, and he's like, fuck this, there is no excuse, other than the fact we're not fucking doing it. Right. And for 10 years, he's on himself and me. Yeah. And then 1 year he calls me, and he's like, dude, I quit eating carbs, and I'm down 100. Right. Yeah. And I go, what? Right. He's like, yeah. I go, what do you weigh? He's like, I don't know, I don't even weigh myself. I don't even buy new clothes no more. I'm just on the farm, and I'm guessing I'm around 350. Right. And I go, what?
And I tell you why that's... Like, for the viewers at home that may not realize, like, I bought a scale while I was in Florida just to keep track of my weight, you know, before the tournament, because I forgot to bring a scale with me. And, because in these jiu-jitsu tournaments, you don't want to be underweight. I mean, you don't want to be overweight, because it's immediate disqualification, because they weigh you before you go fight. It's not like MMA where they weigh you the day before. In jiu-jitsu, they weigh you right before you step on the mats to compete. And if you don't meet weight,
that's it.
You're disqualifying you. It's like, hey, thanks for showing up, but you're done today. Well, so when I bought my scale, the max it went up to was 350 pounds. So when you meet somebody who's 400 pounds, or like you said, you was 5 something, and you didn't weigh yourself for the past year, you know, part of that reason is like, good luck finding a scale that's going to weigh you.
Yeah,
like,
you can figure that out sometimes.
They don't make home scales.
My doctor's office had one. I could find one. But the problem is you ain't going. Right. You don't even want to know. Yeah. So Rusek calls me, and he goes, Al goes, you know, I think I'm 350. And he just tells me over the phone. This is the precipitous for me going full time. Right. So now, me and Rusek are now talking. I go, Al, what do you weigh? He's like, I don't know. I'm wearing a 2X shirt. Yeah. When I find one that I need to buy, it's about a 2X. Right. And I go, dude, I'm like 280. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm under 3 now. Right. Like 2 years later, we're having a conversation. So this is a 6'7" monster is around a 2X, 300 pound range. Right. his goal was like 260, 270.
Yeah.
My goal is 250.
Right.
We grew up together from middle school on.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of people around me losing weight. If he didn't say anything to me, I've never even seen a picture of him. He won't show me a picture. He I don't know why. I keep asking him. He won't show me one. Maybe it's bullshit. I don't even know. I don't even know.
But we know yours is working.
Dude, I have absolutely been able to stick with it, and it's because of the successes and the wonder and awe. Other people's and my own from the new life.
Yeah.
Like Beth alone, her reaction to things is so paramount for me to be excited about doing this. Like she mentions like things like the other day she brings up things I don't even ever remember. Fucking wives.
Sure.
You remember like a year ago, you were looking to buy a tricycle because you wanted to ride, but you didn't think you would ever be able to balance on a bike, and you went down some steps the other day. I showed her a video of me going down some steps on the bike, 5 steps. I look sick too, by the way. Did you see it? I looked like I knew exactly what I was doing.
You know,
so the ability to do new things is what keeps you in the game. So you have to start counting the successes because it's hard. Like you're counting the successes of 20 pounds. So it might be hard to do this in 10 years, but you know you beat something that you didn't realize you had a problem.
Yeah.
And you beat it. But the other people
I feel healthier now.
Some other people just need to know it's possible.
Yeah. Because, and you know, like, the person that was talking about the socioeconomic stuff, you know, he's like, well, you know, your friend, you know, not everybody can afford a $4,000 mountain bike. I'm like, he didn't lose weight because he bought a $4,000 mountain bike. He lost weight mainly because of his diet. And his diet enabled him to do more physical activities that he had never been able to do before. Like, we went out to a farm one time shooting, and Stomp climbed up a ladder in a tree. Yeah. He's like, this is the first time in my life I've ever climbed up a ladder like this. Because, you know, ladders aren't designed to support 400, 500, 600 pound guys.
No way.
And he's like, man, this is awesome. And so when he started looking for bikes, it was like, how can I get a bike to support me at 300-400 pounds?
Well, I actually waited till I was under the limit.
Right.
The limits are 300 pounds.
Yeah.
And I bought a bike that I thought was the most stable.
Sure.
Everybody told me not to buy a fat bike.
Right. Yeah.
They told me buy this full suspension, buy all this shit, and I was like, man, the bike with the big tires looks comfortable.
Sure.
I want stability.
You know, so for me, like, I don't weight lift. I don't do any special equipment. What I do for physical activity is, of course, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I own my own Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school. So that's a workout I don't need equipment to do. But the other thing I do to burn cardio is I have 2 dogs, and my smartphone tells me that, because it's got a fit tracker and it counts my steps, that every day I walk between 5 and 10, 11 miles with my dogs.
Wow.
So even if I wasn't doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you know, I'm getting over, like, you know, some people say, hey, you know, get at least 6,000 steps a day. Others will say 10,000 steps a day, and watch your body start to transform. So athletic activity doesn't have to be running. It doesn't have to be on a bike. You don't have to have a treadmill.
Sure.
You don't have to have a special gym membership. You can just go walk with your family. You know,
or do nothing, be in a wheelchair and change your diet, and 90% of that weight's coming off anyways.
Yeah, just change your diet, and then that's going to open up opportunities for you to ride a bike or for you to participate in a Brazilian.
And money's relative. Money's relative because I spend $3,000 on a bike. It was a $2,000 bike, and then I rode it so hard I busted the hub, and then had to buy a new wheel, and that was $1,000. So it was a $3,000 bike essentially.
Right.
But you know, you can buy the same bike. It weighs 10 pounds more for $400 at Walmart. It's the Mongoose whatever.
Sure.
It's got fat tires. But you ain't going to ride it as far. For me, I'm looking at buying another bike because I'm addicted to riding. And I could give a fuck what it costs.
Sure.
I'm looking to buy like a badder bike, a lighter bike, a carbon bike.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to spend maybe $6,000 on the next bike because I'm into it.
One of my best friends and one of my first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu teachers, a guy named Josh Lauber, he said something to me so profound years ago. I was thinking about buying a Vitamix blender, which was going to be like $600, and I still have that blender too. But I was like, man, I don't want to buy this, and then it just become a kitchen ornament. And he's like, Saad, how much is too much money to spend on your good health? And now, every time I go buy something, I think of Josh Lauber.
Yeah.
And
It's cost you
know,
a lot of money.
So it doesn't matter whether I'm at Whole Foods, you know, and I'm buying something healthy to eat, or whether it's a fitness product or a fitness membership, or, you know, a massage device. Like I got a massage chair at home that costs like about $4,000. It all comes back to what Josh Lauber told me, like, how much is too much to spend on your good health?
So if you can afford it, why not?
But the thing is there's a lot of things we can afford, and we choose our priorities. You know,
Sure.
like, do I need to have a cell phone? Do I need to have cable? Do I need to have a more expensive car, or can I go with a more fuel efficient, less expensive car? Do I need to be in a bigger house or a less expensive house? Like, we're making a series of choices, but the most important financial choice you make, and you shouldn't skimp on, is what you put into your body. Like, because once the body is done, like, your time on earth is done. Like,
or what you do with your time. Like
Right.
the hours I've spent on this creek.
Mhm.
I mean, the thousands of hours I've spent on this creek
Right.
since COVID launched.
Yeah.
When COVID launched, I hit the creek every day.
sure.
I was like, I'm going to get as much sun as I
I know
can.
some really cool videos.
I'm going to get in shape as
You
I
did
can.
amazing exploring.
I'm
doing
not.
your dogs.
I'm going to be.
Right.
Like I'm not staying inside. I'm doing
Yeah.
the opposite of what they say.
Right.
I am not
Yeah.
staying inside. Fuck
Right.
this. I'm
Sure.
going out.
Right.
Because I'm paranoid. So
Right.
if they tell me one thing, I'm doing the opposite
Yeah.
to a degree, right?
Right.
So if that didn't happen, right, I the amount of time that I've spent not working this year, not making money,
Yeah.
is you pointed this out.
Right.
Is you couldn't give me $1 billion to do what I did this year.
Right.
It wouldn't be worth it.
Right.
Like you could put $1 billion in the bank, or I could take another 100 off.
Yeah.
And the $1 billion ain't worth it.
Right.
The 100 off means I can do all this shit. You know what I mean? You don't know with $1 billion if you're going to get 100 pounds off.
Yeah.
100 pounds off is 100 pounds off. That's guaranteed in the bank. So, yeah. There's a like I have a buddy of mine. I love him. I'm not going to say his name. He'll know exactly what I'm talking about. We've been arguing about this for years. He constantly starting a new business, constantly worried about his job, constant money acquisition problems. Right. His whole entire life is based upon him thinking he's going to be a big man one day.
Right.
He's never had fun.
Yeah.
He's never had fun.
Right.
He doesn't even know what it means.
Mm-hmm.
He'll go camping with us, like the 4 times I remember him going camping for a weekend, and he falls asleep at 6 o'clock every night because he doesn't even know how to decompress.
Right.
He'll go do a vacation and then dump at 6. Every night he's asleep at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. He sleeps all night. He sleeps straight through to the morning because he's never taken a break ever in his regular life. So you got a dude who has no idea how to manage stress.
Right.
His whole entire idea of stress is maybe I can make some more money. I need to make some more money. It's fucked.
Sure.
It's fucked. I'm like, dude, I would take my hour on the, I'll take any hour I got on my bike over thinking about extra cash right now. You give me the beach every day instead of extra money, buddy. I don't live to work. I work to live.
Yeah.
I ain't living to work ever. I've never done that. You know what I mean? I don't want to ever be management work. And then I'm not teaching the kids. If I'm not teaching the kids, what am I here for? Because then I'm going to be pissed off that it's a crazy, bureaucratic mess. That the whole entire school system is fucking crazy.
Sure.
So then if I'm not around the kids, then I'm around parents. I don't want to be around parents. Right? You know what I mean? That's the truth. I'm just saying it. Like I'm a teacher for a reason. I want to teach.
Right.
So I'll take the summers off. Don't pay me nothing. Fine, whatever. I'm fine with it. I'll learn how to live within my money.
Sure.
Because that's what I made forever. Then you meet someone like Beth, and then you get a little bit of a break. 2 people together figuring something out instead of one.
Yeah.
It just so yeah, I can afford a bike. I'm 47. I'm glad I can on teacher money. That's money well spent.
But you didn't get that weight loss because you had the money to buy a
No.
bike. You got the weight loss because you made sacrifices.
If anything,
You know,
I saved. If anything, I saved money.
Right.
I cut out 2 meals a day.
You could have done a lot of other things for that $3 or $4 grand.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been as profitable for you physically, but you could have spent it on something else. And so you made choices, but the hard choices you made are your diet, and that's enabled you to do things physically that you've never been able to do.
No way.
And You know, like, I'm amazed at how I feel, you know, like doing this intermittent fasting, because I feel like when I am fasting, it feels like I really feel alive, like my senses are really on tune. Like, it really feels like when I do jujitsu, I'm better at it because I'm sharper, because like my mind is in that almost like a survival mode, you know, from our ancestors of like, man, you know, when
it really
you're
is.
running the plains,
You really
you're
are
hungry
at a heightened
and
state.
you're on tune.
You are in a heightened state.
And where, you know, like, do you want to be the lion that just ate a full meal going into a fight? Or do you want to be the hungry wolf that ain't eaten days? I take the wolf.
Dude,
you know,
you
want to be that hungry wolf.
You won't be able to. People can't hang with me, man.
No.
And I'm huge.
Right.
Like, maybe I'm not huge like I was, but I'm still a really big dude.
Yeah,
and
280 is still a
and I'm taking
good-sized
people
man.
out on the creek that can't even hang. We're almost calling the ambulance and shit. I mean, it's fucking weird, dude.
Sure.
It's weird. I mean, I'm looking good, dude.
Yeah.
Look at that.
You look great.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I love it.
Sure.
I love it. You know what I mean? I love the results. I love where I'm going. I know at 250 I'm done trying to lose. Mm-hmm. Then it's just morphing. Just imagine where I go to, and if maybe I'll be 190 one day. Yeah. You never know. Yeah. Maybe my body's not done, but I'm just staying the course now. Right. And maybe on the weekends I have a pizza on Saturday, one meal. Because this week Beth went out of town. Beth went out of town this week, and I know she's going to be gone for a long time. And we had a carb meal out, just one. Nice. And I was able to eat that one meal and come back in 5 days and be the same weight I was. Right. So if I eat a whole day, I gain 12 pounds. Dang. If I eat one meal, and like some ice cream, I gain 5 pounds. Right. So now I know where I'm at. Yeah. I'm almost at a homeostasis level. Where I can come back to the weight I was in 5 days. Right. Which is interesting. Right. Because I'm within a week now of being able to do something regular and maybe start opening up the diet a little bit. Right. Or maybe not. Right. I'll never be eating candy, bro. Yeah. Unless it's planned, right? But I could see myself having like a pizza on Fridays or Saturdays. Yeah. Sure. And that's it. Right. Or I could see saying, hey, I'm going to take a whole day and we're going to have candy and the pie. Because I think I need to build it in. Yeah, like, I don't think I can go. I can't say I'm cold turkey forever. Right. Like on alcohol, I have to. My heart stopped for 7 days. Sure. I'm never drinking again. If someone ever pushed it on me, I would never talk to them again. And I think that's something that we do a disservice to each other as humans in our society. You know, where like I'll drink a beer, but if I'm talking to you as my dear friend who I care about, and I said, bro, one beer won't hurt. Yes, the fuck it will. Oh, dude. You know, one beer will. We're not talking no more. Yeah. That's the problem. Yeah. You know, like I have friends, but because I have my diet under control, it's cool. But you know, like as I was dieting, as I was trying to get in shape for this tournament, they'd be like, "Oh, one cookie won't hurt, Saj." Yes, it will. Yeah. Because one cookie will lead into 20 cookies. Yeah, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't offer a crackhead a little bit of crack. Right. That's some bullshit. Yeah, one shot ain't gonna hurt. Yeah. It's like, yes, it will. Yeah, dude. But it's something that people don't understand, who don't understand addiction. Yeah. Think it's, or don't acknowledge their own. Right. Don't want to, in fact, they want to bring you back, like, to a degree. Right. Almost like the crabs in the bucket theory. Right. Yeah, like, right. It's very, like people call me crazy because I do a carnivore diet. Sure. But I disclaimer before I say it. I say, hey, I get my doctor checked every 6 months. I get checked. But if it works for you, it works. Right. And you don't know my wife. If I did anything stupid, she would kill me. So a lot of my decisions are, and I know this might be stupid, but a lot of my thought process is, oh, I better not do this. Beth's gonna kill me. Sure. So that's important. That is good, especially for me, because I got like a dumb nature about me, right? So. Yeah. If you know Beth and you know she loves me and you know that she's gonna make me see that doctor and get the blood work done no matter what, she's looking at it first. Sure. Then I'm telling you, and if I told her it wasn't good, she would make me come off of it. Yeah. Instantly. Right. So I'm being monitored. I'm doing okay. Be happy for me. Yeah. That should be the response. Right. Awesome. Yeah. That you should be happy for anybody that's excelling in their life in any new way. Right. There shouldn't be any hate. There shouldn't be any bewilderment or you're a freak because you're doing something.
Right.
No one's a freak.
Yeah.
I'm just loving me better.
Right. And what's a few, like, you should be happy for the people that you love, and you should look out for them. Like, I know that you can't drink alcohol. So when you come over to my house, I'm very reluctant to even have a beer for myself.
That doesn't bother me, but yeah, I get that though.
Because you're my
I get
friend, and it's like, I know alcohol is strict poison for you. But I now, know that, man, like, you can be happy without alcohol, for sure, and I can be happy without sugar. It's a sacrifice, but being in this kind of shape makes me happier than any, Reese's peanut butter cup.
Oh yeah.
Or any cheesecake, because that's just a short-term happiness, which is really what carbs are. It's a short-term burst, and then you crash.
Well, think about it at your older age now. You got 20 pounds off, not even planning it.
Yeah.
You're going to be more mobile older.
Right.
Your brain's going to be better longer. You're not going to be as foggy.
Right.
We could be fighting off Alzheimer's and shit we don't even know about.
Sure.
There's consequences on the good side we can't even comprehend right now.
In addition to the weight loss, one thing I noticed on the intermittent fasting was that like I would eat lunch, and then come like around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock every afternoon, I needed a nap before I went and taught my 7 p.m. class. And it's like, just every day, it was like, man, I felt really tired. It was like, because that food was wearing on me. I was like, let me take a nap. And, like my dogs, they'd be like, yeah, hey, it's nap time. Yeah, they'd get up in bed, curl with me. It was like, I'd take a nap, and then I'd go teach my 7 p.m. class at night. And, like, since I've been doing this intermittent fasting, like, I ain't been taking any naps during the day.
Yeah, the energy is like, weird.
That was an unexpected benefit.
The level part of it, you're even.
Right.
The evenness of it, from the time you wake to the time you sleep.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, like, going into it, like, oh, yeah, like, if I do intermittent fasting, I'm going to lose some weight. I didn't think it would be this much weight. But some of the added benefits was that, like, I'm sleeping better.
Yeah,
I'm waking up more refreshed, and I'm not taking that 1 hour to 2 hour nap mid-afternoon because I'm not tired. So today, like, there was no nap, which had you known me, for the past
10 years,
40, 50 years, after lunch, man, I'm always trying to take a nap. And it's because, my body is, full of food, and it's trying to burn that off.
That's intermittent fasting and the sugar.
So there's a lot of benefits to intermittent fasting.
Absolutely, because you're not going to have the sugar because it's not in your diet.
Right.
Even if
and
you
it doesn't require any money. So even if, like, you're eating a crappy diet, if you do this intermittent fasting, you're going to see some benefits. Now, I encourage you to eat healthy food, try to avoid sugar, and do the intermittent fasting, and see what it does for you. My English isn't so good. So see what it does for you, because I am shocked at the results that I've received. And what I love the most is this isn't like some, product that you got to freaking buy. Like, you don't need any money to do this. You can be in a third world country, and you can do intermittent fasting.
Yeah, you're actually going to lose.
Right.
You're going to save money.
Yeah.
You're going to cut out 2 meals.
And, you're going to be healthier, and you're going to feel better. And really, like, that's the whole thing with weight loss. It's like, don't do it, for cosmetic reasons. Do it for your health. Because if you're overweight, you're just not going to live a long life.
No, it's true.
Your quality of life isn't going to be good.
That's the big thing to me.
Like, it breaks my heart when I see, people that are obese and, they become severe diabetics, and then they lose a limb because it has to be cut off. And it's like, and it's like, they don't want that for themselves. They just don't see another way out.
Yeah.
And like at some point, like, you're past the point of no return. But like, until that happens, like, man, try to make changes. And it's not because it's easy, but it's worth it.
I don't think there is a no return. I think if you're in a wheelchair or a walker and you decide that you want to live a better year than the year before, you can lose 30 pounds and live a better year.
Yeah, I think the no return is just when you die.
Yeah,
then it's like, okay, now it's over.
I do too.
But
I don't want anyone to have any connotation that it's not possible.
Yeah.
If you can't move, you can lose a lot of weight.
Sure.
I've seen my mom do it.
If you can change the diet.
Yeah, it's 90% diet. Love yourself, people.
Yeah.
Understand that most people are absolutely addicted to sugar. If you haven't ever thought about it, just sit back and go to the store and point out things that are carbohydrates, breads, rice, potatoes, and all sugar products. And you will go through the store, and about 5 to 10% of the store is available.
And
So
realize
it's
that
very
our
easy
scientific
diet.
knowledge changes and it evolves. Like, you know, like some people are still going by the food pyramid, which at the time, that was our best scientific knowledge. It was like, hey, you know, eat lots of breads
paid
and
off
carbs.
scientists.
Yeah,
Paid off
you know, at the
scientists.
bottom of the pyramid, that should be most of your food, and then at the top of the pyramid, very, very little meat, very little fat.
So bullshit.
But at the time, you know, that was their best advice. Just realize that, you know, like today, I'm saying intermittent fasting. Maybe, you know, 10 years from now, there would be a better formula. And sometimes, you know, there's more than one route to your goal. Like
Like always.
Stomp is doing a paleo diet where he's just eating meat, and I'm doing a pescatarian diet where it's just mostly
Vegetables.
fruits, vegetables, and seafood with no beef, turkey, pork, chicken.
I eat all that for Saad.
Right. You know, but we're both getting to our weight loss and meeting our physical goals
And
our
feeling
health
good.
goals. And yeah, feeling good. Although there are two different routes to it. So, you know, whether Stomp's doing mountain biking, I'm doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where we both walk our dogs. He walks them through the trails. I walk them around my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And the dogs love it. So it's like, man, if you don't know what to do, man, get a freaking dog, walk the dog.
The dogs need love too. That's
And then
for sure.
another novel approach is walk with your wife and kids, because it'd be nice to talk to them.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you sit in front of the TV and you don't talk to them. Or you
Yeah.
sit in front of the computer, or you sit in front of your phone, and you don't talk to them. Man, go for a walk.
And I say, if you're thinking
Talk
about
to 'em.
buying the equipment and you're not sure you want to, you think it's not going to happen, then don't do it. If you're thinking about buying the equipment and you're excited to buy it and you're excited to make a change, who gives a shit if you can afford it? I mean,
Right.
I'm not worried about it. If I can afford something, I'm going to get it. So I probably should save more money than I do.
Sure.
I do, but I'm definitely going to adjust this year in the credit.
Right.
And start doing stuff where I have the money for it saved up.
Yeah.
So that's the new goal. And when I do, maybe I'll get a new bike. Maybe not. I'm definitely gonna have one for Beth, no matter what, pretty soon.
Nice.
So we'll figure that out. And you know, anything else you want to talk about?
I think we've probably been going for an hour or so.
Yeah, we're at 1
Oh,
time.
cool. So I think that's the goal for the week. As I said, my college professor, Dr. Virgil Jardine, said, man, complaints and excuses are the tools of losers, and they build monuments of nothingness. So give up your excuses and complaints and make the lifestyle change. And
Build those little wins too.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't know how to make a win, make a daily win.
Right.
Make a 2-day win. Make a 3-day win. So you start stacking little wins. You know, Jordan Peterson, the pretty famous philosopher, says, you know, you got to start with making your bed.
yeah.
And you make your bed in the morning, and it's a very small thing. But if your bed's clean, then maybe your bedroom's clean, then
Right.
maybe your life starts coming together a little bit. You start planning, and it's just the basic little things. Stack up little wins, and the big wins become easier. And then when you get days and months, and you can see results, you're going to be highly motivated to keep up and do more and love yourself more. So Stomp Strong, have a beautiful week. We will see you next week.
Next week. I think
Absolutely.
next week we'll be talking about my new concealed carry gun.
Oh, wow, I didn't know you got one.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Because I knew if I told you, we'd be off on that tangent.
There it is.